Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emily. I go by Crafty Emily on here and on Ko-fi, and on Instagram I'm under my own name, which is emily.brind, and I post under my own name on Facebook. I'm only mentioning that because I will have put a link to the Long Dog Sampler Facebook group here, and if you've come over here for the first time and you've seen this video, you're very welcome. I don't know if they'll allow me to post the link, but this is a whip parade, but it is only a long dog whip parade now. So it's probably going to be as long as some ordinary whip parades. I have an awful lot of whips. Anyway, I am completely in awe and addicted to long dog samplers. Anyone who watches me on a regular basis, hello to you guys, because I'm sure you'll be watching this too, knows that I absolutely adore long dog samplers and I stitch on them all the time. So what I've decided to do I said next year. Now, next year I'm going to have a long dog year, but it's obviously starting now because I'm already stitching a lot of long dogs, and I'm starting them all the time to build up ready for next year. So next year is going to be like a long dog process year, and it's going to be heavenly. For those who don't know me, I've had a hell of a year so far. My year went very odd in February when my fiance went into hospital and has had a life-changing event. He's gone completely blind, completely black blind, due to a brain, he had encephalitis and it basically killed his optic nerves. So my life changed very dramatically, and stitching and my community here has getting me through. So yeah, so that's a little outline to me. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am 50 next year. I'm currently 49, so I haven't had my birthday yet, but I'm 50 next year. I live in the UK, obviously you can tell by my voice, and I live up in Cumbria. So it's a very, very warm day today. UK's having one of its random heat waves. Not so bad as down south, but up here it's getting on for warm. I am in my whip parade room, up in my bedroom, with the white cupboard behind me, because what I'm going to show you is going to be colourful. And normally I film in the conservatory and you've got all the windows there and you can see what's going on outside, and this is just my stitching, which is what I tend to do for my whip parades. I've done it for the last couple of years now, done my whip parades up here with the white background. I don't like filming up here all the time because my life is very movement and lifey. So yeah, background about me: I've got 4 children, 2 of them are adults. One of them is 17 and my little boy is 13, so they're getting on for grown-ups. I work full-time. I try and work as many hours as I can, but with Richard the way he is now, I need to find a better balance, but I can't do it at the moment. But we'll get there. We will get there. I've always been very crafty, done all the things, and in 2020, 2018, 2019, I ordered a diamond painting and I had no idea what it was. So I googled diamond painting and it took me to Sarah the Stitching Mommy diamond painting video, and then she showed, and then I just watched the next video and it was cross stitch, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. So before my diamond painting even arrived from China, it came from eBay back in the days when we ordered from eBay, things like that. I was already knee deep in cross stitch. Very quickly found all the big stars and fell into it very heavily, and ever since then I've been cross stitching like mad, and it's completely taken over my life. Completely, utterly taken over my life. But I absolutely love it. It's amazing for keeping my brain quiet. You know, it's my relaxation, it's my switch off, and as such, yeah. And my style hasn't really altered massively, but the long dog samplers are consistent. So that's just a little bit of background into me. and I'm going to show you an awful lot of cross stitch. I'm going to split it into, very busy outside today, lots of helicopters. I think the air ambulance has just gone out. The air ambulance base is literally like 5 streets behind our house, so it comes and goes. We're North Lakes here, so it yeah, up it goes and rescues people off the hills or people on the M6 that have been smushed. So I think it will probably come back at some point. You'll probably hear that. It'll be loud. Okay, anyway, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all my long dogs, from finishes to plans, because I've got everything in between. I've already taken a little clip this morning of my one fully finished item, so that I'm going to show you first. My only fully finished item is quilts, and I got that framed as a Christmas present in 2024. My parents, my mum takes them down to her frame shop. He's very good at framing cross stitch and stretching it very beautifully. So I'm going to insert that clip here, and then I'll talk on it afterwards. Okay, so here is my only FFO, which I'm going to struggle with because the light is currently coming through the window. Just about see it all here. This is quilts, and I stitched quilts in lockdown right from, let me see if I can get myself where I'm not any, it's going to have to be slightly on an angle, guys. Here is my quilts. I started this on the first day of lockdown in 2020. 16.5 days later, I finished it. I'd been working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and you know what? I had no idea what to do with myself. So I found a piece of, I think it was mushroom. I'm pretty sure it's 28 count, might be 32, straight, so I got Lugana. I picked colours from my stash, couple of overdyes, mostly they're anchor threads because I had barely any stash then, and this is what I stitched. It sat in my finished box for 2020. I had got it last Christmas. 4 years it sat in my finished box, and then I gave it to my mum in time for her to get it professionally framed for me for Christmas 2024. So that's where it sits, on what will be a cross stitch wall. That sits with my only one of 2 Haid finishes, but we're not talking about Haids. And the door is giving us a bit of a reflection on the glass. It is behind glass because I have a lot of cats, and currently 4 in the house. And that's quilts. So that's on the wall, and I'm not taking it off. So quilts is done. It wasn't my first long dog start. My first long dog start was Pilgrim, which I'll show you now. This was, Pilgrim is here. It is finished. It's not fully finished, but it is finished with its backstitch done. There's my second caveat problem I have, is backstitch. Long dog samplers always do have backstitch on them, but that's kind of cool. I think my camera's moving. Hope it's not going to fall over. Anyway, so it took me a long time to decide which long dog to start first, which is hilarious to me now because I've got so many of them on the go. I bought a piece of even weave fabric and I dyed it this magenta colour. I wanted purple. I wanted a really pure purple, but purple's very hard to dye. I've learned purple fabric is very hard to dye. So dyers who get purple fabrics, of which I have several here, well done to you. And I used a Mrs. Sadus silk, so I was watching a lot of Jan Hicks, and she was doing shades of gold, but she was doing it with Mrs. Sadus Darling silk. So I ordered a full hank of Mrs. Sadus Darling silk, and on, I think this is 32 count, just looking at it, I think it's 32 count. Even weave, two strands over 2 threads, which makes it 16 count. I used all but 2 balls about this size of the hank. Oh, that's Cosmo. We've got 4 cats here at the moment. Cosmo is on the windowsill currently, double fast breathing because he's baking. He's crazy. What's my normal floss tubes if you want stupid Cosmo updates? Anyway, he's on the windowsill. He's currently knocking things off the windowsill. Anyway, the whole point of Pilgrim was he was my first long dog leap year Sal. Erin, the 2 Martini Stitcher, who's wonderful, and her starts this year. Yeah, pop over and see her. Her idea was to stitch a long dog sampler in 4 years, which is doable. A lot of long dog samplers are enormous. I think everybody watching this will know. Some of them are tiddly tiny, some of them are enormous. Pilgrim falls into the I'm pretty big stage. So let me show you my Pilgrim. Fully finished. Well, finished. So as you can see, and the colour in here is fantastic. This is true colour. So here is Pilgrim, finished. I didn't colour control when I started up in this corner here. This is the one and only waist knot I've ever done. Which is still there, which is a sign of how I thought I should stitch. I lasted 1 waist knot, let's just say that. And as I got on with it, I did start to do a little tiny bit of colour controlling here and there. Like the raven here, you can see I did circles around him. The flamingo is striped. And down we go to the bottom, 2024. Now I finished this basically on Leap Day 4 years later. I think I waited to put in the last few stitches. I started off stitching this with a paper pattern because Pattern Keeper did not exist when I started stitching this. I then purchased, when I got to page 7, I purchased the PDF because I'd lost page 7. And then the pages I had left were a bit sketchy. But as you can see, it is fully done with the back stitch done, all of it. And 2024 was my finish year. And it's marvellous and I love it, and it will be going to my mum to be a big frame. Because they frame one thing for me a year, it tends to be a biggie. And this is the biggie. That's my really big finish. Now, as I was stitching Pilgrim, I also stitched and finished a lot of other long dogs. Well, stitched on, still stitching on. This one here, I stitched very quickly as well. Sans Souci is one of the small stroke medium. It's size small stroke medium for a long dog. And Sans Souci is wonderful, means no worries. This is stitched on 28 count Lakeside Needlecraft, even weave in manuscript, which is white on the back and has manuscript. It has letters, writing, very, very palely printed on it. It's fabric flared fabric basically. You can tell by the fabric flare little logo there. But some of them they did exclusive to Lakeside Needlecraft, which is a marvellous online store, ships worldwide, but it's here in the UK. And here is my Sans Souci, which I got the paper pattern, I drew corner to corner, and then I just divided it up with a ruler, and where it touched the lines, I blended. So let's find one here. You can clearly see here, these 2 or 3 stitches that straddled the lines, I blended, and right in the middle is a little cat. Where is my middle? Can't even find it. Here's this little cat here, who is right in the middle. There is the cat. And here is the middle, and it's just a bit of a, I put the stitches where I could. So there's one red stitch there, and then everything kind of goes around it. And there is a little cat. I knew the cat was near the middle. I stitched this quite a long time ago. I finished this, I finished it in 2020. He's in the elephant, the date, 2020's there. Now the threads for this, I bought a kit from Amazon of the 4 Seasons trees, like it was sort of abstracty. Yeah, it was awful, horrible printed, really cheap and nasty printed. yeah, I sacked that very quickly, like about 300 stitches into it. I sacked it and used the threads. I split them up into rainbow. I added in a couple of, like that, to get from the red to this mauve. I added in a few anchors, a few DMCs, things I had just to make the colours lap round. So Sansi Z. Finished, backstitch done. Haven't framed it. There's a bit of an issue. There's my issue. Here is one stitch to the bottom. There, look at that. So I need to be creative with that. I think what I'm going to do, what I've always thought I'm going to do, is stitch my inch wide natural coloured herringbone tape right up around the edge, like what do you call it? The mat board, you know, that you put like inside the picture. I think I'm going to stitch that on, and then I'll be able to frame it. I'll have to frame this myself because I can't give that to a framer. I just can't. So I'll have to frame it myself. So I've never actually got around to framing it because, oh my god, the stitching's terrible. Don't ever go back and critically look at your own stitching, by the way, because the things you stitched, the stitching changes so much. Okay, out of order now. I've got 2 tiddlers that are finished. A little freebie here, Slava Ukraini, that Jules put up in when the war started, and I just stitched it and finished it eventually. Took me a little while. It's absolutely wonderful. Just a little, we support Ukraine, because we all do, and sadly it's still all going on, isn't it? And then I've got this one which is finished and needs to be framed. I think it's called Chien Loop. It's the wolf and the dog and the moon, and I dyed this piece of fabric myself. I'm not too sure, several shades of grey. It's very motley, it's lovely. I've got another piece. I've got double the back. Oh yeah, my backs. There's a rule about the backs of my work. I don't care. I do not care. Yeah, I carry my threads. Life's too short. Seriously guys, life is too short. For me, personally. My issues come out in different ways. But for me, I stitch fast. I carry my threads. I tie knots. That one waist knot, only one I ever did. I make a knot. I start my thread, I go. Sometimes I'll loop start, but more often than not, I don't. More often than not, I just tie a knot. I just do a knot with my fingers and I'm off and I'm stitching. For me, it's about getting on with my stitching. So I think this is called Chien Loop. It's in, I think it's in other stuff on the website, and I love it. And the wolf is in a toile, 310 a toile. So he slightly sparkles, and the all the yellow is in I got a spool of, I think it's rayon, so it's shiny. So I just used 2 strands of that, and I absolutely love it. And this is a silk. This is one of the Dinky Dye silk. He's either charcoal or black beach, black sea sand or something it's called. Anyway, black sand beach or something like that. Anyway, it's one or the other. I can never tell the difference between them. So he is finished. He needs framing. Backstitched on. Great. And then I've got 2 that I have finished, but I have not done the backstitch, annoyingly. This is done on Lilac Sky, which is a Lakeside Needlecrafts exclusive. You'll see these fabrics over and over again because I love them. It's 36 count, 1 strand of Dinky Dye silk. I use Down Under Blues and Blue Groper, and it is Anzac. Here is Anzac. Anzac has a thread hanging off him because I haven't done all the backstitch. I've done some of the backstitch. Here you can see I've done some of the backstitch, but I know for a fact it's not all of the backstitch. Now this is terrible. This is the first Vomity Horse. I love the Vomity Horse. The Vomity Horse turns up in a lot of things. I absolutely love this piece. It needs finishing off. It needs the backstitch done. So this is one for my long dog year that I need to get finished. My issue with finishing this is I no longer have the PDF of Anzac. I have checked all my devices that still work. I don't know why I don't have the PDF of Anzac. It has gone. Oh dear. So anyway, I will sort that out and I will get my Anzac finished because I love it. Have we got a date on this? I finished Anzac in, let me look, 2021. There is my date, 2021. So I finished that in 2021. It being halfway through 2025. Yeah. And then the one I finished, I started and finished this pretty quickly actually. This is on a beautiful piece of berry cobbler, Be Stitch Me fabric. It is opalescent. I don't have any issue stitching on opalescent fabric. Lots of people do. I don't. I love it. And this is Opening Gambit. This, for me, is as monochrome as you might get from me. A lot of mine are monochrome, but they're never black and white. I don't really do black and white. I'm a one-trick pony. You'll see my colour schemes. They follow all the time. I have not done the back stitch on this piece. I still have the PDF. This I can finish. I've just been too lazy to do it. 2022 finish here. Opening Gambit. I love it. This is in DMC 3808, which is probably one of my absolute favourite DMC colours. I have a sofa downstairs that I brought from my old house when I moved in here with Richard. That is 3808. It is a velvet sofa from IKEA, and I hummed and hawed and couldn't resist buying it because it is in my favourite colour, which is DMC 3808. So this matches my sofa. And I love it. Anyway, Opening Gambit is done. But there are two of those I need to backstitch next year. They're on my to be finished. So they're finished, the cross stitch is finished, but the backstitch is not. So that's my current finishes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I have finished. Well done me. We're going to move on to WIPs. I'm just going to go and check Richard is okay. We've just finally discovered audio description on we're currently just stuck in BBC iPlayer with it. So I've put an audio description on for him. I'm going to go and see how he's getting along. I'm probably going to get myself a glass of water because it's getting fair on warm up here. Normally I drink tons of coffee. I've had 4 shots out of the coffee machine already this morning. I think that's enough for now. I will be back in just a moment and we're going to start on my current active WIPs and I'll be back. Right, I'm back. He's perfectly happy. I have a glass of water which I put lots of ice in, so we'll see how much this ice melts because I think it's very warm in here. Right, that's better. So current WIPs. So for the Long Dog Leap Year Sal, which I thought, yep, let's go again. I thought this was me last year. I'm not going to start a new one to take me 4 years to stitch it. I've got lots of WIPs. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 14 WIPs. Long Dog Sampler only WIPs. WIPs overall, I've got about 60. But Long Dog Samplers, I've got 14 on the go. One is just started. Okay, so I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 4 of my active WIPs and I'm going to see if I can finish those 4 in 4 years. Fair goal. So I'm going to show you those first. 3 of them I've already worked on this year. This year I am doing WIP Go, which is Jessie Marie Dove Stuff, who is a wonderful human person who came up with WIP Go some years ago, and I've never played WIP Go. This year I'm playing WIP Go with a weird reward system. Again, go and watch one of my other videos if you want to know about that. Anyway, so far I have worked on 3 of my 4 Long Dog Leap Year pieces. I'm going to show you the one I haven't worked on because it's top of my list. This one here is called Happily Ever After because I am living my happily ever after now. which has had a little bump in the road because Richard's gone blind. But, you know, we can go around that. We'll get around it. If it will be very, very, very soon, it will be the new normal. Another one of my active WIPs. Anyway, and in the meantime, I went to pieces, which is another one. Anyway, Happily Ever After. I'll need to put a picture of Happily Ever After up because I've not done very much. This is currently sitting at 10.3%. When it has come out of WIP Go and I have worked on it this year, it will be a lot further on. But currently, it's not. And all I have so far of Happily Ever After is here, which is almost all of the frame. I've got a little bit of the frame. I've got a few boxes here to do with the frame, and a non-frame, I have got one tiny bunny right there. So, Happily Ever After. This is on a piece of 18 count Ada, which I came to me dyed, but was very speckly. So I over dyed it with blue and grey. I absolutely love the result of this fabric, and it fits this perfectly. So that's what I'm stitching it on, and my colours for this are here. Basically, we've got some Quicksilver, Dinky Dye Quicksilver. I've got charcoal, Black Sand Beach is what it's called, and they're both here. They're two Dinky Dyes, and as you can see, they're almost exactly the same. Charcoal is ever so slightly darker. Black Sand Beach. I've got Spectre Colour and Cotton, I've got Pearl White Colour and Cotton, and I've got Chimney Sweep in Colour and Cotton there. And then I was going to do all the hearts in a bright red or a bright magenta, and then I found the most wonderful fabric shop, like Patchwork Fabric Shop, my mum put me onto, and I found 12 weight Aurifil here, which is just like Sulky, except it's slightly shinier and it's slightly fluffier. So it's really lovely. I can do one strand of that because it's 12 weight, which is equal to 2 strands, which is what I'm stitching this with. So all the little details, anything I fancy, all the hearts for definite, but all the other little bits I fancy are going to be in this beautiful 1, 2, 4, 3 it's called, 50 meters of this, a little spool of Aurifil 12 weight, made in Italy, pure cotton, beautiful. You'll guess that I don't mind mixing and matching. I've got pure silk, I've got cotton, and I've got a completely different cotton. For me, it makes no difference whether I'm stitching. I can stitch silk next to cotton, next to rayon if I can bear it. Don't do it. Don't ever buy the rayon. It's awful. So anyway, Happily Ever After is in my WIP Go, all my bags. Again, back to last year's WIP parade. I made myself about 40 bags so that I could finally bag up my projects, because I make and sell bags, blah 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 blah. Ko-fi account is linked below. Anyway, I finally made myself some bags, so some of my projects are now in bags. Right, the next one is amazing. It is the pointed fifth, quinto, something like that it's called. I'll put a picture of it here. I will be getting along with this. I can show you quite a lot of this because I am doing quite a lot. I have done quite a lot. It is currently sitting at 64.15%, and I have done my stitches this year into this piece. I don't know whether it was on my WIP Go twice. If it is, it'll get some more, but I think it was only on once. And I picked very, very punchy WIP Go goals. My WIP Go goals were all about 5,000 stitches per piece, and I get 4 a month because 20,000 stitches a month. I used to stitch a lot more than that, so I still do, but it's a bit more of a struggle now. Anyway, let me show you my pointed fifth, and then I'll explain. There is a whole video about my pointed fifth down. If you just scroll down, you'll find it. This is 32 count. Excuse me. 32 count white Lugana that I dyed pale pink. It is opalescent, and here it is. so far, story so far is there's the bottom. I found the bottom this year. So it's not quite square and it fits this space. And you can see that it is indeed 64%. I'm over the halfway mark. And back into last year, because I'd sort of done like this, I decided to go over here and finish all the way down. So it is finished, bar back stitch, to this turquoise line. And you can see what I'm doing here. You can see my gridding. I am simply stitching in one colour, and then for about 17 rows, 16, 17, it depends. And then I do 3 rows all the way along where I blend one strand of the colour I'm using, one strand of the colour I'm going to, and then onwards, downwards. I've left the needle just tucked in there, as I do. I'm not very careful with my cross stitch. The fact that some of it's bagged up now is unbelievable to me. But I found the bottom. There is the bottom this year. Anything inside an arch is in DMC Etoile, 823 Etoile. So navy blue Etoile, not the darkest navy blue, 939 is the darkest. This is 823. It looks very dark. It's not really. So this is opalescent fabric with opalescent stitching. Fantastic. Yeah, so he's coming along. This will be finished in 2028. So each year now, what I'm doing when I work out my stitches for the year, I work out what I need to stitch to finish off a chunk. But I'll do that at the end of the year, so I need to account that I only get until the end of February. So at the end of 2027, I need to only have a little bit left to go that I can get finished in that space. Here is my colour scheme. Ignore those. They belong on a different piece that I have UFO'd. So my colours are there. They started here with a 602, I think, and I used them all up, and then there's bits of DMCs left. And then we go around the boy. The numbers are here. Again, if you want the numbers I'm using, if you want to do the same as me, please do. Always, please do. I'm not precious at all about any of this. I steal other people's ideas all the time. Borrow, use, adapt. I did Crafty Gaming Jamie's October spin thing. I watched a video of hers and went, October, I'm doing that. So I just shamelessly copied her, did the same as her, put 31 different projects onto a wheel, spun it, and each day I did a little clip to camera, put them together in weeks, and then I stitched on 31 different projects, which was amazing. That was last year, and my world was very different. Pointed fifth. The third one is the new normal, which I restarted. I was stitching this on a grey linen using all DMC variations, and I wanted a whole rainbow effect. Yeah, it looked crap. It looked totally crap. Like, I can't describe how terrible and crap it was. I've got a lot of loose threads in here. Okay, so I've pulled all sorts of random loose threads there. Some of them are in a floss box, but you can see it's pinks, purples and teals. It was pink and teal, and I've introduced purple because life's better with purple in it, in a bag that I thought matched so well this piece. And this is currently at 34.55%. It's had 5,000 stitches put into it this year. It's on a beautiful piece of Bee Stitch Me Aegean. It's 40 count, so I'm doing one strand of DMC or silk or Krynic or whatever over 2 fabric threads, and this is where it is. So the only real difference here is that the Prancy Pony in this pink bubble, that's how he should look. I couldn't see him, so I'm filling him in. I'm stitching the Prancy Pony in relief, so what should be stitched isn't, and what should be background is stitched. So to add on my stitches, because I'm counting for this year every stitch I stitch, I'm just counting, and I'm sort of doing it in reverse. so a bit difficult for Pattern Keeper to do that. So I've printed out some paper pattern from my PDF, and I'm just using a paper pattern for that. Paper patterns, once you use Pattern Keeper or whatever you use, I'm Android, so Pattern Keeper for me was just amazing. It's a one-off. Long dogs go in. Sometimes you have to have a little jiggle. You've got to be aware with long dogs that sometimes you've got to go in and just set the size of the grids perfect. I did it with Saga because I didn't want to have a line missing in Saga or an extra line shoved in somewhere, which is what it does sometimes. I've been in, I fixed Saga. Saga's in my Pattern Keeper and it's perfect. So it is doable. I'm not the first person to say it, and I'm not the first person to show a video on how to fix it. So go seek them out if you need to. New normal, 34.55%. Again, it will be I'm probably going to say 12% next year, 12% the year after, and then finishing off just a little tiny bit, so it's finished for Leap Day 2028. And then the last one, which I am just finished putting my stitches for the year in, just over 5,000 stitches have gone into this year, is Gone to Pieces, which I absolutely love. I can show you my threads for these. These were a bit of a treat to myself. I am stitching him in silk. Here is my colour palette. It's different to Jules's because these are my colours. Down Under Blues is the navy blue. That is my absolute favourite dinky dye of all time, Down Under Blues. And these two are dinky dyes, and the other ones are Karen Water Lilies. You can tell because they're 12 strand. This I'm stitching on a 36 count Lakeside Needlecraft Fabric Flare exclusive in granite. You'll see this over and over again. I think I have 3 long dogs. Well, maybe only 2, because Anzac was Lilac Sky, but it's exactly the same. It's 36 count, it's even weave, it's wonderful. 1 strand of silk gives you the most amazing coverage. Here's the Vomity Horse. We meet him over and over again. Love my Vomity Horse. He's breathing fire or something, but I always think he's vomiting. I call him the Vomity Horse. And here's where I am. So absolutely love this. You've got to have a tapir. Always, look, just amazing. There's a tapir. Loads of bunnies and squirrels and bugs and beasts. I love it. And if there's a chicken also, the better. This one has got a great big stag beetle, which I love. The running fox is on Pilgrim as well. I just love them. So some of the pieces I've filled right in. Adelaide stitches. Adelaide's just started this. We love Adelaide as well. I'm going to see if I can work out how to link all my people, all the people that I love and watch all the time. That's one thing I'm not very good at, is linking stuff in my description box. But I'm going to see if I can actually link the people that I watch and love to this time. So here we go. There we are. I love this. What I've done here, I've done 20 and a 2, and it probably will be an 8, but I've left the box unstitched for the finished date, just in case I am never going to get it finished early, let's be fair. But just in case it slips and it's 2029, it will be done in the 20s, I promise, because I've stitched the 2 already and I don't want to have to flog it out for a 3. So here we go. Gone to Pieces, currently at 45.13. So we'll probably do 20% on it next year, 20% on it the year after, and then the last little bit to finish it off in 2028. And all 4 of those should come together to finish Leap Day 2028. Cosmo's getting too hot. He's just crawled along the windowsill a little bit more and that's laid back down. He's too hot. He's going to have to move. Anyway, he's a cat. He can sort himself. So those are my 4 Long Dog Leap Day, let's get them finished in 4 years pieces. I've now got 2 more that are on my WIP Go that I have not yet stitched on this year. This is my only paper pattern that is going to remain a paper pattern. Obviously I have the PDF of it, but I'm stitching it as a paper pattern for lots of reasons that I will explain now. This is one of my old project bags, one of my first, and it is Dilemma. Now dilemma picture up here. I didn't put pictures of all of those up because they're enough. I will try. I'll try and insert a picture of each of them as I go. Dilemma's here. Dilemma is, the idea of dilemma is that it's done on a 9x9, a 3x3 grid, making 9. And Jules gives us 16 pictures. And the dilemma is, which 9 do you use? Okay, yeah. Great, Jules. Give me options. Can't do that. My brain doesn't like to do that. My brain said, okay, well, your dilemma is how you can fit all 16 in. So my frame is 4x4 because obviously, of course it is. I've been stitching on this a very long time. I don't stitch on it very often. When I do stitch on it, I love it so much, and I never know why I don't stitch on it all the time. It's one of those. When you stitch on it, you love it. When you don't stitch on it, you don't really remember to stitch on it. Anyway, I'm going to show you where I am. If I can find the right way up. Where are the elephants? Oh, I've got the crabs. That's fine. Right. So here's where I am. This is on the granite again, 36 count granite from Lakeside Needlecraft. I have just enough. It's going to sit, so my margin here was like 2 inches. 2 inches top and bottom. It was framed dreadfully. This is my, nearly knocked my water over there, that would be a disaster. My 1 inch cotton twill tape, that's what I'm going to put round Sans Souci so that I can frame it. That's just by the by. That's obviously what I had to hand and what I stitched on top and bottom. Oh no, I put this on a frame. I put this on a scroll frame. I'm not a scroll frame person. The ones I use frames. 11x11s almost always is what I stitch in. Two-handed stitcher. Left hand, which is my gammy non-dominant hand, goes underneath. My dominant hand goes on top, and I stitch like this, about that fast. I stitch fast, but which means that when I make mistakes, I go, meh, carry on. Mostly. Sometimes long dogs are harder if you're doing something geometric to sack off a mistake. Anyway, so my frame, this should be the frame here, should be this size. That's what the pattern gives you. So I have picked up other bits of the pattern, flipped them, and I'm carrying on to do the 4th corner here. And then, so there's only 6 of the 16 done. Now my WIPCO goal for this year, when I get to it, when the number gets called, WIPCO's just like a massive bingo game, and Jessie Marie calls 2 numbers a month. If you don't know about WIPCO, just go and look up Jessie Marie and she'll explain it all to you. It's a really fun game actually that I've never taken part in, never floated my boat. I was a stitch what I want when I want, and then I thought I need a little bit more organisation in my life, and it's working beautifully. By the end of the month, I'm fed up of my pieces and I want to change them, which is good because then new numbers come out and you get new pieces. So whether I get the whole frame finished as a WIPCO call or not is going to be close because it's a lot of work. I can't even hazard a guess how many stitches it will be. I will count them as I go. And as you can see, I've just left threads where I've got to the edge of my Q-snap or I've finished stitching. I've just left the strand and I'll just pick them up and carry on. Now I'm only using 2 colours for this. I am using Karen Waterlily in the colourway Pomegranate, of which of course I don't have a skein of here. I've got 1 strand. I've got a skein downstairs. Pomegranate. It is coral into almost burgundy into orange, and it's wonderful. And then I have actually 4 skeins. Gosh, I was feeling flush, wasn't I? 4 skeins of Dinky Dye Mystic Pools. So all the little bits in between, in the middles, are going to be Mystic Pools, and as you can see, it's going to go so beautifully with the pomegranate. This one is almost a standalone. This one isn't really my colourway, being orange. I don't do orange, I do purple, pink, turquoise, yeah. So this one's orange, but it's wonderful. It's such a beautiful, there, you can see the pomegranate variegation there. And me as a stitcher, I stitch 1 stitch at a time every time. Whether it's a Haid, I have a super size max colour Haid, 1 stitch at a time. anything that's monochrome that I could go zip, zip, half stitch, half stitch. My half stitch looks crap. It is shockingly bad. If I do one line of half stitch, I can see it. It looks so rubbish. I don't stitch half stitch height because I can't count. I mean, I can count. I can't count doing half stitch. Kudos to anybody who can manage to do heights, even with a pattern keeper in half stitch. I can't. I'm as thick as mince. I do one full stitch and it looks like a stitch. It uses all 4 holes. Brilliant. And we go. Dilemma. Yet to come up on my WIP go for the year, so it's going to get a big chunk of work in it, and hopefully my frame will be done, so next year I can stitch some of, I'm going to finish the frame before I even start stitching. And somewhere I have worked out which one I'm putting where. There may or may not be a little scrap of paper. It's probably drawn on the back of a piece of pattern. I had mocked out which picture I was putting where. If I can't find it, I'll just make it up again when I get to that point. Might be next year, might be the year after, we'll see. And then in this bag here, again, tried to match my bag to my project a little bit, is Pandemic. Now in the Pandemic, Jules issued this pattern, and I think for a month it was free. And I think almost everybody in the cross stitch world who was in the cross stitch world in 2020 downloaded it. I downloaded it, I ordered things for it, and I started it. Here is my hank of Mrs. Sadus hydrangea. I have a public service announcement. Mrs. Sadus silk bleaches in the sun. Here is hydrangea. And that's what hydrangea really looks like. If you open up that, you can clearly see what the sun does to the silk. Okay, don't leave your silk, your hank, your ball if you roll it, in the sunshine, because it will do that. Look, there's how it should look, and that's what happens when you leave it in the sunshine. So, do I care? Not one jot. It's amazing to stitch with. I wish it was colour fast. We already knew it wasn't colour fast because Jan Hicks had a leak and some of hers went onto her work, and we all went, oh crikey, it's not colour fast. Didn't think it was going to be a problem. The only problem I've got is I've got to try and keep this clean, which is, now it's in a project bag, not so bad. The other problem I have with this, of course, is the first square where I put my Q-snap before I realised. I used to dump them on anywhere. It has bleached out quite a lot. I was very deliberate with my Pandemic. This is 40 count Picture This Plus. Get me in the UK buying Picture This Plus Tidal. And it is green. It is green. It's a little bit greener than it's showing. And using the hydrangea, I wanted the very pale lace filigree effect. Now it's been bleached by the sun, it's even more pale and filigree. Luckily, living in this house, assuming I ever get this finished, which, you know, I'm hopeful I will at some point in time, the hallway gets no natural light, so all my long dogs will hang in the hallway in artificial light, so they will never bleach further than they've already bleached. Pandemic is currently at 18.52%. It will get 5,000 stitches at some point this year, which will bring it up to about probably 23 maybe percent. Not much. Here's where I am. And you can clearly see this square here has been bleached by the sun, because where I've worked on it afterwards and been a little bit more careful, you can actually see some purple. There was purple in this bit. It's gone. Never mind. But it's tone on tone. And it's very discreet. I love it. It's 40 count, so I'm using 1 strand of silk over 2 fabric threads, and it's littered with mistakes because that's how I roll. Anyway, we're getting on. Last year I did quite a bit of this bit here, which is why that is got purple in it. I'm on my, you can actually see the line where it was in the Q-snap there. where it's bleached. Just be careful. If you use Mrs. Sada's silk, just be aware of it. Don't be me. Don't leave it in the sunshine. Don't be me. Pandemic will be stitched. 18.52% currently, but as I say, it's not come up in WIP Go yet this year. So when it does, that'll be that. Right. My next bunch of WIPs. Oh no, I've got one more I can show you that has had its stitches for the year. This has been this month's WIP Go goal for June, and I finished yesterday. I think I finished my stitches on it. So it has had, I've taken it to 30%, which turned out to be just under 5,000 stitches. It's like 4,800 or something. Jack Be Nimble came out last year, and I took one look at it and went, I love it, I need to start it. To me, it looks like this as the pattern. To me, the columns were long. So that's what I'm doing. So I found a piece of 20 count. It was gridded. I bought this to try and stitch the Little Dreamers tree on. It's long. It is very long, and I dyed it and I killed it. It's got brown in it. It was not meant to have any brown in it. Very brown there, because I singed it, because I microwaved it. Let's not talk about it. Anyway, I wanted a very dark, mottly, stormy blue. Yeah, it's slightly, the pale bits are slightly darker than they're showing here, but here's my stitching. I am using silk. I'm using Karen Waterlily Opal for this. Here is where I am. This is 30%, which is where I've stopped for the month, for the year. 30%. So I'm just stacking on top of it to make one long, very tall piece, which will be great. Because it's white, I'm using 2 strands, so my silk's not going as far as I was hoping it would, but as you can see, it really jumps off the fabric, and that's where it is. And all I did was, I printed out the cover page, I chopped it up, and I sticked it onto a long piece of paper, and I jiggled things around until I was happy with the placement. I totally lost it because I left it in the sun and all the Pritt stick unglued. Here is a screenshot taken from one of my videos, which is what I'm kind of using as a, yeah, which bit's next. The piece I'm on at the moment is the full height of the pattern, so that's fine. And I'm just finding the bit in Pattern Keeper and stitching it as I go. So that Jack Be Nimble is what we're currently working on. My single thread drop is something I devised. I sell these, quiet plug for people who don't know me. They're needle minders, they are magnetic. It's got a Mahusive 12mm magnet on there. That's massive. It's heavy because it's going to hold floss. Monochromatic pieces, marvellous, perfect job. Yeah, I make these and I sell them. Link to my Ko-fi is below. Anyway, they're very useful for long dog samplers, especially when you just want to pull a strand out of your thing and you want it on your work nearby. So, Jack Be Nimble. So, those are my WIPs that have been stitched on, that are very active in my life. I've got 3 that I've started this year, which I'll show you next, and then I'll show you my badly behaved ones, of which there's 4. Okay, so Jules brought out Fish and Ships, and then Fishy Goings On, and then she immediately brought out a 3rd, Fisherman's Friends, and I was like, poo, because you'll see what I'm doing. And then she has now said there will be a fourth. So I'm shelving number 3 and number 4 for next year. So it's easier if I just show you these two, because you're going to get immediately what I'm doing. So I had this beautiful piece of beautiful dark purple fabric. It's called Belladonna. I was gifted this. It's old fabric in an old like photocopy. The label was like not even printed, I don't think. It was wonderful. This is 18 count Ada, and that's its colour. And then I thought, well, I want to stitch the other one in reverse. So this is a piece of 18 count Ada, which I got in Mint Splash, which was the palest pastel I've ever seen in my life. I overdyed it and it went turquoise, like this colour turquoise. They look exactly the same, they're not. This was green tone, much more like this here. My thread was green tone turquoise rather than blue tone turquoise, if you get what I mean. So I overdyed it with green, which made it perfect, absolutely perfect. And the idea with these two, hence why they're in the 14-inch. This for me is very unusual. I stitch in 11-inch. 14-inch R&R frames, bought from Lakeside Needlecraft, because we love Lakeside Needlecraft. And I am stitching these to bead. So what have I got? I made this. This is a prototype. They will be in my shop soon, and they will be better than this. Gubbins. Right, I am using Sulky in about the darkest purple known to man. This is dark purple. It is 1197. It is inky blue purple. It's wonderful. And then I'm using Aurifil in colourway 2810. Those are my two colours, hence why I've got two fabrics. And then I bought beads. I've got, these are Delicas, so they are size 15 beads in the two colours. I've got frosted, I've got these gorgeous Toho ones, and I've got opaque turquoise, matte colour iris blue, turquoise rainbow, which are slightly shiny, and transparent frosted cobalt. Got lots of beads, and the idea being that some of it is going to be beaded and some of it is going to be cross stitched, hence why the entire piece is in a 14-inch frame, because it's going to fit here. You can see they fit, so I can bead as I go. The only problem with using these frames is that if you bead as you go, you're going to crunch them, and I don't want to crunch beads. This is a 2-hole floss drop, which goes marvellously, and same deal for me. My two threads hanging on there. Depending on which one I'm stitching on, I just need to move my floss drop across and I'm good. They're being stitched together concurrently, done. And Fisherman's Friends is the one I haven't started. Fish and Ships is at 7.39%, and Fishy Goings On is at 3.22%. These will change dramatically between now and this time. Now and the end of next year, they'll change dramatically. There will be beads incorporated. There will be all sorts of goodness. For the beading, I went and bought the matching thread, like sewing machine thread, and the matching Gutermann, because Sulky is Gutermann. We call it Gutermann here in the UK. It comes branded as Gutermann, not Sulky. Yeah, look. So my 12 weight Sulky is branded Gutermann. It's German. They are the same colour. They really are the same colour. They're the same. They've got the same code. They haven't got the same code at all. Heaven only knows what I'm doing. It's fine. I thought they had the same code. Oh well, I took this with me and colour matched that one and thought it was exactly the same, but it's not. Anyway, so little notions pouch will have a bit of Velcro closing it, and there's going to be a little scissor fob hanging off the bottom, and some of them I'm going to make with pockets for bobbins. But for things like this where you need beads and you need gubbins, small projects, I'm making some of these. This is my prototype. It's good and it's bad, but it's perfect for me. So I will be starting the other two by and by. My ice is melting dramatically. And then I started Saga, because of course I started Saga. I was sent the most beautiful gift from an absolute angel called Angel, who sent me a box, and in the box were some fabrics and some threads, and the fabric turned out to be a whole yard of Picture This Plus flapper. She picked it for me, honestly, and the threads, sorry, I just had to go and grab them, were all in my colours. Absolutely every single thread I could have ever dreamed of owning, I now own. So I've added in an awful lot of stash. Everything I had basically I pulled. 2 videos ago I showed what I was doing. So here we go. I have thinned it out a bit since then because I realised that I didn't need as many colours as I had, I don't think. So, Saga, here, biggest long dog known to man, I believe. I think only Bristol Fashion might be bigger, but that's shorter but longer, I think, slightly different size. So my whole yard is currently residing in this project bag here, along with the colour I'm currently using and my list, which I'm keeping track of. So the idea is that I use the whole skein. I have to stitch this correctly. I can't just be me and wander around. So here is the top, all the way across one side to the other with DMC 818, which is what I started with. I've now gone on to Spun Sugar, and you can see there's 6 stitches deep of one colour and I'm into a different colour, and the idea being that I use it up and I have to stitch all the way across, and if I get to the other end I come back, and to a maximum of 6, I think, of each colour, 6 stitch deep of each colour. The first colour, which was a full-ish, I think it was a brand new skein of DMC, did 1.29%, 1340 stitches. This is 28 count, so I am doing 2 over 2, which is making it 14 count. It's going to be massive, hence the full yard. I couldn't have done it this size without this piece of fabric. And what I have done is I basically arranged the colours that I have into a flow, an ombre. So basically all I'm doing is getting the next one out of the list, and then the next, and then the next, and then very quickly we'll get into darker pinks, and then we get into the rhubarby colours, into the corals, into the burgundies, purples womble around a bit, and then we have a join over where there it is, where the purple has a very variegated one, and then that goes into like the bluey colours, and then the bluey colours go into another one of these very variegated threads, which takes us into the mauves, down through the purples to this marvellous one here that joins on the turquoises. Turquoises flow into the aquas, which flow into the greens, into the teals, and then into the dusky colours, which I may or may not get to. But I had 3 of these absolutely heaving with threads. I've been through and I have pulled out this many because I thought there'd be too many. And some of them are DMC, some of them are anchors, a lot of them are dyed. I've pulled them out. So there's my saga, and I'm stitching on saga as and when. It is currently at 1.38%, and the idea is I use up stash. I'm going to stitch it until I've used up the bobbin, the bobbin or the floss drop. I've put them all on floss drops. I took a lot of them off bobbins and put them on floss drops. I'm just going to go until I'm done. Everything, because my pointed fifth is very similar to pointed fifth saga, but much bigger. Because everything inside the arches in my pointed fifth is dark navy blue. Everything inside the arches of my saga is going to be natural cream. Not ecru. Yeah, I might just do it in ecru actually. But that colour. Not white, but off-white. Creamy, natural, creamy, undyed kind of colour. Unbleached, undyed kind of colour. Which I will source. So as I come to the arches, I'm just going to leave the inside of the arches until I've sorted out what I'm doing for the inside of the arches, and then I'll go back and stitch what's inside the arches. But there we go. Okay, now I've got 4 that I am stitching. Forbidden Fruit. Now Forbidden Fruit came out as a special. The first, I think it was 333, sticks in my mind, people who ordered Forbidden Fruit got a bag. I got a bag. I was very quick. I jumped on this the absolute second I saw it online. And the bag is printed one side with Forbidden Fruit and the other side is Nudie Rudy. And in buying Forbidden Fruit, we agreed that we would never show the Nudie Rudy on the internet. So one side is Nudie Rudy and one side is not. I'm still undecided as to whether I will stitch it full on Nudie Rudy. It's really naughty. It's hilarious. I think I'll have to. But we've always promised that we'll never show the Nudie Rudy bit. I'm nowhere near the Nudie Rudy bit. My Forbidden Fruit got to 6.74% and stalled. It is literally here, right at the top. Beautiful piece of 40 count Be-Stitch Me Marine. It is linen, so it's slightly harder to stitch on. I'm an even weave girl, but you know, linen calls, linen, if linen's what I've got, linen's what I use. So my idea for this was to do all the blues and the pale whitey greys and the grey blues. So we will see about this, because that's all I've ever done of it. We will see if I can manage to carry on with that. I mean, I want to, obviously, but didn't. Never went back to it. Santa Quill is glorious. Santa Quill's at 25.1. I restarted Santa Quill, I think, onto a beautiful piece of Weeks Dye Works. I think it's Puria Blue, Puria Purple. There he is. That's where he is. And there are beads here. I put beads in. You can see them in the hairs. I've got the best part of a house there. Problem I've got with Santa Quill is I'm not sure whether I want quill on the sleigh. I think I want knights, which I will mercilessly steal from Opening Gambit. But that's not a today problem. It's I'll figure it out later. This is 30 count, so I'm doing it 2 over 2, 2 over 2, so it's a very loose 15 count kind of thing. This is a very loose see-through linen. It's very loosey-goosey, very easy to stitch on. I do have my Q-snaps drum tight always, so it's very easy to see what you're doing. I just need to get on with that really. And then I've got, this has been in the naughty corner for almost as long as I've had it. Castles in the Air. I started knitting Castles in the Air, in 2021 maybe, and never got very far. I got about 6 inches up it and stopped. Now people actually knit long dogs. They're amazing. but I did start doing it and then kind of didn't ever carry on with it because I just didn't. One day I'll find it and show you, but it never really got done. So I centre started Castles in the Air. This is a piece of 40 count linen. It is called Lagoon. It's straight Zweigart linen in Lagoon. This is dinky dye Quicksilver, which I use for a lot of stuff because I love it, because it's not white, it's not silver, it's in between. It's not quite grey, it's not quite white. Here it is at 7.39%. This has been in timeout for years because every time I pick it up, I make a mistake almost immediately. Like almost immediately I make a mistake on it. I need to sort myself out and bloody well stitch it because it's a wonderful pattern. And I'm 7% in. But it's just been in the naughty corner. It'll fit this piece of fabric, you know, it's massive. But naughty corner. And here's one that I think I'm going to right, I'm back. You didn't know I'd gone. Flora phoned. She's just having her break at work. Can you come and get me? So I went and got her. She gave me a hash brown and said, can you take me to Sainsbury's? She got a delivery. So to pick up from the store, you know, from the delivery locker thing. So she's happy. And she's at home just now. Checking in on her cat, who is here on holiday. Eric, our fourth cat, who lives with my parents. He was meant to come here, but he loves them so much. He decided he wanted to live full time with my parents. But they've gone on holiday this week. They're down in Norfolk, which is lovely. And we've got Eric. He's very nervy here. But anyway, so my last little WIP is a little tiny WIP. It is Count Your Blessings. Picture of it here. I was hankering after something bright and colourful, and I made a tiny error, which is why I haven't ever stitched on it very much. I picked up a piece of mushroom Lugana and I thought, ooh, I'll do it 1/1. 28 count. I can manage 1/1 on 28 count. I can. Oh, the girls are up chatting about Eric. I'll just shut the door. Yeah, it's 32 count. So here is the 12.09% of Count Your Blessings. Look at it. It is microscopic. It will literally be a small stroke, medium sized long dog that is this big. Isn't it just microscopically small? Yeah, I struggle a little bit with it. But now I'm picking it up, looking at it. I was going to UFO this, and now I'm thinking, why? Why should I UFO it? I'm stitching this just with random anchor threads. I've got the little pack of random anchor threads somewhere, but if I couldn't find them, I would just pick up other random threads and carry on with it. So yeah, it's tiny, but you know, I could really just keep on with that. Poor brain, poor me. Okay, so my last section is what I want to start this year and next year in my year in long dogs. A year in long dogs or a year of long dogs, something like that is going to be my little hashtag, which as many people want to join in, even if you've only got one long dog, that's fine. I'm going to pop the hashtag up on Instagram so that we can all keep track of everybody, which would be lovely. So I have got, hang on, a few that are kitted, a bit kitted, and I'll run through them here with you now. So the first one I have kitted, ooh, 2 hanks of Quicksilver, marvellous, they go with over there, is Before I Sleep. Picture of it coming up here. I've loved this since it came out, and wanted to stitch it. So here's what I've got. I have been given this absolutely beautiful, it is purple, it is there, glorious. There is no maker's mark. I don't know who it's by. It's got a little pin So I don't know where it was bought or anything. It's 36 count. It's called Artemis. It's a fat quarter. And I am going to stitch before I sleep with one strand of Dinky Dye mother of pearl silk over 2 on this. I'm going to start it very, very soon. This year there'll be a birthday start in there somewhere, but we'll see when I get round to getting this started. But before I sleep will be another purple with the mother of pearl. I am stitching the mother of pearl into a Renato Parolin piece that will be finished this month. I'm rather hoping I'm going to finish it today or tomorrow, because it needs to be finished this month and it's the 29th of June. So yeah, that's Artemis fabric with mother of pearl Dinky Dye before I sleep, to be started. Now the next one is not in my colour scheme, and I'm going to start it because I have been given a beautiful piece of fabric. I think this is Be Stitch Me. There is no label. I have counted it and it is a 28 count. It is beautiful. This, I think this overlocking, this serging is unbelievably reminiscent of Be Stitch Me fabric to me. The white and the red, or the white and the orange she sometimes does. I could be totally wrong. It's come to me from New Zealand, so it could be one of the wonderful Australian or New Zealand dyers. I don't know. But look at this fabric, isn't it outstanding? Now, You Belong to Me is the Egyptian one. Picture of it here. I own this pattern. I was gifted this pattern by a lovely lady probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I've never started it. Maddie, my eldest daughter, who's 22, she's living back at home. She went to Cambridge, got a law degree. She is home, living here, working very almost full-time hours, saving up to go back to uni to do a bridging year and then masters in America. Fingers crossed for her for that. She just went down to Cambridge over the weekend actually to see all her old friends, because they're the ones that stayed on the extra year to do their masters straight away are all just finishing, so she went down to see them before they all scattered to every corner of the world. So she got back last night, really happy. She went through London to come home, because she went to Cambridge to London to get on the West Coast Main Line, which is like the super fast train straight home. We're on the main line. The station is that way. I've lived here a year and a half now and I still can't quite get my bearings. We're a 5-minute walk from the railway station, which is on the West Coast Main Line. It is amazing. Anyway, so I'm going to stitch this for her. It's 28 count. To make it fit on this fabric, I have to stitch it 1 over 1. I'm going to be a big brave girl and I'm going to do that. And I've got greens, olive greens, and so I've got 936, 934 and 730. It's predominantly going to be 936 and 934, of which I've got a lot of, because one of my Hades, the Key by Custom Mills, has got an awful lot of ivy at the top, and they were a lot of these colours, and for reasons unknown I kept buying and rebuying the same DMCs over and over. So I've got full new skeins of these, as well as a lot of part skeins. So I'm going to get started on this, and this will just be little accents, will be this much more olivey colour, but it's the lighter. It tones better in real life actually. On the camera it doesn't look like it tones, but it does tone. So some little details. So I've got a darker, a not so dark, and a much, much lighter that I will stitch this, and it will be for Maddie, because it's not my colour tone, but she will love it. So there you are. You Belong to Me will be started soon. Then I'm going to start Death by Cross Stitch. I think this is going to be my birthday start. Now, I was given this fabric by one of my bestest cross stitch friends. Most of the Be Stitch Me fabric that has been passed through my hands there, she gave me those as well. She gave me this. Piece of, it's my only piece of XG Designs. It's 40 count, that's what I got. Newcastle linen in dark peacock. This is me. It is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I've never really unfolded it, to be honest, not fully, but leafing through it, it's outstanding. I am going to stitch Death by Cross Stitch on this fabric. I'm going to start really soon. Now, this is going to be multicolour, but it's going to be random. I'm going to stitch a motif in this colour, I'm going to stitch a line in that colour, I'm going to do the alphabet in this colour, or each letter different colours. I'm going to make it up as I go along. So it's going to be a random, but it's going to be made up as I go along. Now, I'm going to use, go me, look at these. I have been sent 2 different bundles of Silks for You from 2 gorgeous, gorgeous ladies, both in New Zealand. Both arrived really quickly, unbelievably quickly from New Zealand, and I'm unbelievably thankful. I will talk more about this in my normal floss tube next week. These came this week, but here are all the ones. Oh my god, look at these silks. Some came from one of the ladies and some came from another. So I have these. Oh god, look at them. I want to eat them. Not in a weird way, but you know what I mean. They're scrumptious. So Death by Cross Stitch in all my tones, and then just in case I want something a little bit different poked in there, hang on, I've got all the threads that I lifted out of Saga, lifted out of my Saga pile, so totally just as neat as they were before. I've got these, which are my ones I pulled out of Saga, so if I need something just slightly different colour, or I just want something more solid or whatever, I've got these here too. There's a whole range in here. There's some silks, there's some knots. That one is silk. I've got a whole range in here. There's some thread works. The long ones are thread works. There's all sorts in here. So Death by Cross Stitch, which of course is absolutely enormous. Death by Cross Stitch is picture, did I put a picture up? Is 363 by 447 stitches, so it's massive. But I never thought I'd stitch it, but now I really want to. I think as part of my long dog journey, Death by Cross Stitch is seriously what I need to do. So that's there. And then the other one that is going to get started this year for definite is the House of Fun, because one of the ladies from New Zealand who sent me fabric, this is a country stitch. I've not come across them before. This is 28 count Cashel linen, and it's in Thundercloud, and it is purpley grey. This is right up my alley. It's showing a little bit more purple than it is in real life. In real life it's a little bit greyer. And the lady also sent me her leftover part hank of PR 074, which is like the pastel rainbow. Yeah. So I thought, what's the funnest thing I can put on this? The House of Fun picture coming up here. So I don't know whether I'm going to colour control it or whether I'm just going to stitch it and go with it. We will find out. It's going to be stitched 1 strand over 2. No, I need to stitch it over 1 because it's 28 count. So I'm going to go 1 over 1 with this. But I'm up for it, and that's what I'm going to do. So the House of Fun. So that's 4 more starting this year for definite. One I'll start really soon, and probably start Death by Cross Stitch for my birthday. So for 2026 I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more I want to start. I'm going to run through them quite quickly here. So top of my list is Froth and Bubble and Froth and Bubble 2, which I've always loved. I've loved them. I want to stitch them using the Call for DMC. I'm going to get probably 32 count antique white, even weave, and just stitch them as they come. They're going to be big, of course they're going to be big. I'm going to use the DMC colours that they're in. and just get on with them because I love them. And yeah. And then there's Spangled, which I want to stitch, but I will stitch it in my colours on probably a navy blue Ada. I'll stitch it on Ada to make it easy peasy for myself. I don't mind stitching on Ada, I don't mind stitching on even weave. I prefer even weave. I'll stitch on linen. I find linen a little bit harder, but I'll use what I've got, basically. Anyway, Spangled's on the high list. They're the three that have got double ticks next to them of, yes, I really do need to do these. Then, I've not got these. I've not thought about anything other than just liking the pictures. I've got Act of God. I've got Love at First Sight and the Fisher King, to be decided on, the fabric colour and the threads. And then we've got Fisherman's Friends and the question mark, the third and the fourth of the fishy ones. I will do what I'm doing with the two I've already got going. I'll do a reverse, a light and dark reverse. I have a funny feeling it's going to be bright shocking pink, like magenta, and something else. And I'll do it the same. I'll get the beads, and so that the four of them will stand together. And that's it. A year in long dogs. A year of long dogs. Not sure yet. We'll get there. Wow. That's my long dogs and my plans. And if Jill's releases something magical in the meanwhile, might well go on the list too. So yeah, I'm going to have a year where I predominantly stitch on long dogs. So what that means to me is that my WIP Go tree next year will have, each box will have a long dog in it, and either a full coverage or one of my existing non-full coverages as well. So I have something else to stitch on too. And I will have a wheel. So each month I will have 4 projects, 2 long dogs, 2 non-long dogs, and my non-long dogs will have reasonable goals. I'm talking 2,000 or 3,000 stitches as opposed to 5. Let's say 2 just for evens, so that I can easily meet my goal on them. 5,000 is a bit of a push for me, to be honest. So I think there'll be like a 2,000 stitch go on the non-full coverages, or on the non-long dogs, and then my long dogs, it'll just be, this is the piece for the month. Stitch on it as much as you want, as much as you can, see how far you get on. So I'll have 2 of those each month, and then I will have a wheel, a Tiny Decisions wheel, which will have all of them on, and then I will spin it, and whenever I want to change up my change up, if I really want to stitch on something, I'll stitch on the thing I really want to stitch on. If I can't quite decide, I'll spin my wheel. And that my only stipulation there is if when I spin my wheel, I stitch on what I spin. And that will have maybe I'll set myself an arbitrary 1,000 stitch goal. So 1,000 stitches on that, spin the wheel, 1,000 stitches on that, spin the wheel. And I will leave them up on the wheel, so all my WIPs will be on the wheel all the time, unless the same thing comes up all the time, and then I'll take it off. If I think something's come up like 4 times in the first 8 spins, I'll take it off the wheel just so that I stitch on lots of different things. So that's my plan for next year. I've got to finish this year off. I've got half of this year to go, and I've got an awful lot to get on with in the meanwhile, haven't I? Right, this is super long. It's WIP parade length. It has been a WIP parade, but just maybe a third of my WIPs. Because I'm WIP going, my WIP parade now is either things I've stitched on this year that have changed, or things I have not stitched on yet which have not changed. So it was only going to be a half WIP parade anyway, because there's half my pieces, well, really, yeah, about half my WIPs that I haven't touched at all yet, and some that some aren't on my WIP go anyway, so I'm not going to get touched this year anyway. So I thought I wouldn't just do a standard WIP parade. My ice has melted. That's a tiny little bit that's left, so that's how warm it is in here. My full glass of ice is completely melted out. Right guys, thank you for watching this. If you haven't met me before and you like my ideas and my crazy long dogs addiction, like, subscribe, tell me in the comments which long dog you like the best, which one you're stitching on. how many WIPs you have going, and I will have a hashtag for next year, and hopefully we can get a little long dog, let's all look at each other's pretty long dogs thing going on. I'm going to be keeping on making my floss tubes. I post a weekly video, and I'm going to keep on doing that for the foreseeable future because I like doing it, and that's how where I am. I'm going to go and do some stitching now. I will see you all next Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on my rota, and for a normal floss tube, except it'll be the end of month wrap up and the start of July. So thank you all for watching, and if you've got to the end, brilliant. I'll know if you've left me a comment on which long dog you're stitching on or you love the best, or whether you think my choices are great choices, or whether you think I've missed off something fantastic that I really should stitch that is not on my list. Let me know. But yeah, thank you, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.